Ever since the loss at Indian Wells, I've been hearing from Djoker faces and just regular tennis fans all around the world that Djokovic doesn't care about these Masters tournaments, any of these tournaments. He's all about peaking at the majors now. But please, Djoker face, take a look at the 3 matches in Monte-Carlo from Mr. Djoker Nole, and please explain to me how that is part of his master plan. I got news for you. He ain't losing on purpose. Today on Coffee Break Tennis, we will talk about the disaster that has been slowly developing in Monte Carlo for Mr. Djoker Nole. Also, we'll break down the Final Four. We'll talk a little bit about Rafa, a little bit about Danny Medvedev, a little bit about Doozy Boy Lajovic. And also, on Coffee Break Tennis, we'll have lots of comments because you see the cup here and you hear the music. Wait, that's the wrong music. It's Friday, so you know what that means. It's BierHall Freitag! Not every Friday, but some Fridays, we do a special thing called BierHall Freitag, where comments from INSTANTgram, Twitters, sometimes private instant messages, and of course, comments from the comment section down below are all welcome. Doesn't matter what country you're from, it doesn't matter which tennis player you like. You don't even have to like me, or the show, or Mr. Goat, the talking tennis cat, who refuses to be here on my Geburtstag. So in the spirit of BierHall Freitag, let's start with a comment from 2 of my favorites, the Omar Vaz and Lita Semperi. Oh, it's happy birthday to you, I believe. Happy birthday, mate. Your birthday and the Joker is out. Can't be a coincidence. I wonder how Mr. Goat is taking his loss with Mr. Nadal still in the draw. Well, Mr. Goat, the talking tennis cat, who likes Novak Djokovic quite a bit more than Rafa Nadal, actually. He's upstairs, abstaining from the program. Anyways, there was many birthday wishes, and I don't even talk about my birthday. I've never even officially said when it is. I just always say, oh, this is the day where Sharapova gets my old age, and I advance a year. It's like I'm giving Maria Sharapova a used car. 32. Enjoy it. While I blaze ahead into 33. But of all the birthday wishes, some of them I may pop on the screen now. Some of them I might put at the end of the show. We have like 50 comments that I put on there. There's no way I'm going to do all of those. So at the end of the show, I'll let the music play out and pop some comments on the screen, ones I don't get to. Because it's BierHall Freitag, after all. An open forum for the tennis-loving public. But of all the birthday wishes, there was one, a voicemail I received today on my telephone that was the most special of all. Hello, Matt. I heard it was your Geburtstag. So, Matt, I want to wish you alles Gute zum Geburtstag. I hope on your special day you have a very good Mittagessen, a Frühstück, an Abendessen, and maybe Antwort after the Abendessen. Maybe you'll have a nice dessert, a special treat. I don't know. Maybe a Geburtstag cake. Maybe, since you like a coffee cake. Maybe a small, tiny piece of dark chocolate. Anyways, say hello to your Katze. And maybe I'll see you at the championships Wimbledon. Auf Wiedersehen. Dominic Thiem. What a great guy. Oh my God. I have tears in my eyes. All right, on with the show. It just makes me so happy to hear from my friend. So a very special thank you to Dominic Thiem. And hey, another thank you to a special friend, not Dominic Thiem, Peter Freeman, the head coach of Crunch Time Coaching, which is the head sponsor of Coffee Break Tennis. That's why we have it there on the screen. It is a great place to go and learn tennis. Peter's put together an excellent 4-part series that I helped Pete with called the 3X Power Serve series. It's a free video series. I want you to click in the description down below if you play tennis, especially if you want to get better at playing tennis. This was a game changer for a lot of people. Basically, we break down how to get effortless power on your serve, how to use your kinetic chain, how to get the arm loose, how to treat your serve kind of like the way a quarterback throws a football. This was a thing that, if you ever heard the story about the Williams sisters, I can't remember which coach it was, but a famous coach got a hold of Venus and Serena and said, yeah, they're pretty good, but they can't throw, they can't serve. So he taught them how to throw a football first before they could learn how to serve. Anyways, that's one of the many things that happens in the free 3X Power Serve video series. So click the link down below. check it out. It is so important to develop a good serve, especially if you're going to play doubles. Craig O'Shaughnessy, the stats guru for Novak Djokovic, he always talks about how on the Pro Tour, it's so important to get off to a good start with that serve because the rallies only last, 3 to 4 shots. And in our recreational leagues that people like me play in, not the Pro Tour, it's even less than that. So if you can get a good serve into play, you're going to do very well. And especially in doubles, I've been playing a lot of doubles lately. You want to make life easy on your partner. You want your partner to like you, to want to play with you. Develop a great serve. Learn how to hit a spot. Learn how to put enough power on it to get them to pop that thing up so your net person can feel like a hero and smash those balls away effortlessly. The 3X Power Serve Series, it is awesome. It helped my serve. Just helping Pete make it. It made my serve better going through all the course material that tennis coaching genius guru Peter Freeman, founder of Crunch Time Coaching, put together for this excellent series. Like I said, it helped me. It'll help you. Click the link down below. If you don't do it, you're really missing out. Dominic Thiem. So like I said, the theory out there, and it's not a bad one, when I did the 20 slams of Christmas, and I didn't do all of them, we'll have some more this December. When I did the 20 slams of Christmas last December, I was reminded of all the years where Roger had these kind of losses in the smaller tournaments, some of them big, like Masters 1000s. Tournaments before majors where he lost, like, when he first lost to Andy Murray, was that Cincinnati or wherever, a hard court before the U.S. Open. Then he wins it. Roger would have all these losses that you wouldn't expect, and then he'd still win all the majors. So there is a case to say Djokovic doing the same thing, especially as he gets older. Why expend so much energy? But this can't be good for the confidence. And there's just no way this is like part of some master plan that Djokovic is, executing. Anyways, here's from George Belshaw over at the Metro UK. Seems like the only thing we do. Oh, for my birthday, my Geburtstag, I got, my printer broke. Every other line is completely smudged out and almost unreadable, illegible. Illiterate. Novak Djokovic not concerned after Monte-Carlo exit to Dani Medvedev, despite recent dip in form. Like you saw in the thumbnail, 3 and out. Not only is this 3 tournaments in a row where Djokovic has lost earlier than expected, these are 3 tournaments in a row where Djokovic has not been able to win 3 matches in a row. He lost his 3rd match here, and he can't win 3 matches in a row in 3 tournaments in a row. And before I read what Djokovic said about it, we'll take a look at some of the stats. I went back and watched the whole Taylor Fritzy match because one of the things we do here at Coffee Break Tennis that's so nice for you, the tennis-loving public, the highest IQ, smartest tennis audience in the world. We watch even the matches that you don't want to watch, like Taylor Fritz versus Novak Djokovic. I watched that match. I watched the Cole Schreiber match, of course, and Djokovic could have easily, Dominic Thiem lost, and I said he was playing great, and He didn't play that bad in the match he lost. He could have played a lot better, but it wasn't bad or anything. Just Doozy Lajovic really stepped up. Doozy Lajovic would have beat Djokovic in the match against Fritz, the way he played. In the match against Cole Schreiber, I would say Dominic Thiem would have beat him. Nadal would have crushed him. Djokovic, he left the door open for an upset in both of those matches, but Fritz wasn't up to the task. Cole Schreiber just wasn't able to play consistently enough that day, although he did a lot of good things like breaking 4 or 5 times in that match. And you could make a case that Djokovic played better in this match than in those 2, although he hit a ton. I think 47 unforced errors from Djokovic. But Medvedev really able to step it up. And one of these things that's always been on my mind that I haven't really talked about a lot on the show is the more tennis I watch, especially now that I do Coffee Break Tennis more and more, I spend more time on it. And the one thing that it keeps popping into my head is you have to be consistent enough to stay alive, whether that mean that you don't make a bunch of unforced errors or that you have the defensive skills to run down tough shots and get them back in play, get them back deep enough so that you don't get killed on the next ball. You have to be able to play consistent enough and good enough defense to stay alive, to stay in points, and you have to be able to knock down shots when you have an opportunity. A great example of this today would be Dani Medvedev, who played consistently enough and good enough defense to allow Djokovic. The unforced errors don't come if you make an error right away. You got to hit a few balls in before Djoker can make the unforced error. So you play well enough to let the errors happen, and you hit your winners. You take your spots, you take your moments, and a lot of those points are really key for the momentum swings that can decide whether or not you win the match. We'll take a look at the Fabio Fognini match in a moment, and in the stats in the Fabio Fognini match, it doesn't look like super obvious that he would have won the match on the stats alone. but the timing of it. When it mattered most, when it was really important to win a point, to take down a game, players always say it comes down to these key moments, these key points. Fabio Fognini either forced an error or came up with a winner. Anyways, let's take a look at what we got here. So, despite an early defeat on the clay courts of Monte-Carlo, perhaps the reason to be alarmed is the manner in which his form has, the printer, dropped off a cliff since leaving Australia. Okay, that's what that says. Well, yeah, for sure, says Djokovic, which I won't try to do his voice for now. Well, yeah, for sure, French Open is the ultimate goal on clay, and I hope I can. For sure, it's expected in a way for me to peak right at that tournament because that's what I'm aiming for, he said. This is only the first clay court tournament of the year. It's a long season. Let's see how it goes. He talked about the weather. There was one point in that Djokovic-Medvedev match where it looked like there was a tornado happening on the clay. I don't know how they didn't get a bunch of clay in their eyes. I'm guessing they did. He said it was difficult to find a rhythm with that kind of weather. Djokovic also said the backhand is obviously very solid. He said the forehand can be effective, but he improved his movement a lot since last year, talking about Medvedev, and he definitely deserves to be where he is. Medvedev will face Tsitsipas of Serbia tomorrow, who I've always really liked. I've always enjoyed the Lajovic game. So real quick, when we look at the stats, you'll see it even more, but Medvedev has a very flat, like the flattest. You'll see it. I think he has 20 RPM on his ball, which is really low. All the players are in the 30s or 40s or 50s on both shots. On the backhand, Medvedev's ball has like no spin on it. Tracy Austin, commentating for the Tennis Channel during that match, was saying how it almost has backspin because his backhand, it's pretty simple, straight back, and it's very flat, like I'm saying, but it's a little unorthodox, and I haven't really noticed this so much, but Tracy Austin says she almost sees like a little bit of slice go on his backhand the way he hits it. So watch out for that. Kind of a crazy thing. I have seen people do that, actually. It's usually beginners or kids who are learning tennis where they kind of accidentally slice the ball while they're hitting it, but they don't fully slice it, but they do. So usually that's the thing, like as a tennis coach, you try to get them like, okay, stop that. You got to pick one, spin it or slice it. There's two ways to do it. The forehand is kind of ugly looking for Medvedev, if you haven't noticed. He takes it up kind of high, and then he drops it down where the strings point at the fence for a moment, and then it goes down like that. Kind of like the way Simona Halep drops her forehand. A lot of players do that take back. Federer, Aliassime, Fabio Fognini, actually. They kind of just take it to the side. I do this too because I always try to copy Federer. And then they just kind of lay it down to the side, then fire that hip, get into the wrist lag. Medvedev takes it high, and it looks like he might be about to try to do that, and then he takes it all the way back and drops it. And like Tracy Austin was saying, it always looks like he's going to be late on the ball, but he manages to accelerate and catch it out front enough and get through it and hit a decent ball. Like Djokovic said, it's effective at times. Djokovic not playing super consistent with the 47 unforced errors, but if I was playing Medvedev, I wouldn't let him get many backhands. And what I remember from having a primo seat to see Federer versus Medvedev in Miami was Federer did give Medvedev a lot of forehands, especially when he went to the net. Always seemed like he'd hit something cross-court to go to the net. So he was always going after the Medvedev forehand. But I do recall him hitting a lot of slice balls really low, knifing it low to the backhand of Medvedev. So maybe that's a good thing to do to kind of break down the confidence in the better shot, the shot that Medvedev is more comfortable hitting, the backhand. I don't know, though. Who's left? Can Tsitsipas, does he have a great backhand slice? I haven't watched him enough to really tell you that, but I'm guessing no. Most people don't. Rafa's slice is okay, but I don't think Rafa's going to... I don't know. We'll see. Will we even get Rafa? Because Rafa has to go through Fabio Fognini, which normally we would say no problem, but Fabio Fognini has beat Rafa on clay more than once. I think only twice, but still. And Fabio Fognini, the way he played after it looked like he was done, he was down like 6-1, 2-1, something like that. Anyways, he came all the way back, and he just crushed Coric, like mentally. He destroyed him mentally. Coric lost all belief in himself, which was a really crazy thing to see. Nadal on the Djokovic loss. Nadal, who had his own troubles today, I think he went down 3-0. At one point, he was down 4-1, almost 5-1. I think he was down 5-2. Comes all the way back to a tiebreaker, and I believe when Nadal gets to 5-all, he has to serve to get the 6-5, I think it was. Either way, he faced break points again, or at least he got down love 30. It looked like, because he had some bad moments on serve. That's how Nadal went down by like 4-1. Also, you'll put it on the screen. Take a look at this. Nadal with not the greatest court positioning. 34% in the way back. 53 behind the baseline. Only 13% inside the baseline. Whereas Guido Pella, 64% just beyond the baseline. 14 inside. 22 in the way back area. And I think that has a lot to do with how Rafa was behind so much. Anyways, he says in his presser after the match, matches like today, being honest, helps even if I don't play my best for a moment. If I am able to recover myself, can't read the rest of it, is an important match for me. He's basically saying, like, he wants it. He wants these long matches. He wants to play a lot. I get nervous for him, though. The more he plays, the more I wonder what's going to happen with that knee. But he came back in supreme fashion. He got to the tiebreaker. Nadal went up 6-0 immediately. No problems after that. Oh, moments, but he got ahead so soon in the second set. But I remember there were moments where he could have at least, but it never mattered because Nadal was ahead a set and always ahead in the second. And the printer screwed it up so bad I can't read what it says. But from what I remember, Nadal basically said it's very strange to see Djokovic lose a match like this. And he also said it looked like Medvedev was more tired than Djokovic towards the end. And then it all came unglued for Djokovic. Let's take a look at the stats and talk about how it came unglued. Real quick, that Fritz match. I'm going to show you stats from that first set. There's not a lot of unforced errors. I think it's only like 7 or 8 for Djokovic. But there was many opportunities. And one thing I noticed, there was a couple times where Djokovic slipped and almost fell on his face. He looked very off balance, very uncomfortable, playing Taylor Fritz, who looked very uncomfortable on clay. Djokovic was able to take advantage of that in the end, and Taylor Fritz had plenty of unforced errors. But Djokovic, he was hitting unforced errors. They were flowing from nothing. Djokovic really personified the unforced error. I mean, they were totally unforced. He was just giving them out for free. If Fritzy boy could have just kept the points going a little longer, like I said, you got to hang around, whether it's defense or consistency with your shots. Let the points develop long enough to let your opponent miss, especially on clay. And he just couldn't do it. There would have been so many more unforced errors if he could have just made Djokovic play a little. So let's take a look at Djokovic and Medvedev. Of course, what stands out most here are the 27 unforced forehand errors from Djokovic, but the backhand, his better side, at least the side he makes less mistakes on, 17, 47 total. Wow. That's a lot. Danny, the BS Russian Medvedev, has 21 unforced errors. That seems like a lot, but not really here at Monte-Carlo. It's the slowest court of the year. Everyone's making a lot of errors, but 47, that's definitely more than average. 25 winners, that's a positive 4 there. That's good on clay. That gets it done. But take a look at Djokovic and Fritz. Only 7 unforced errors from Djokovic, but look at the 17. Like I was saying, if Fritz could have cut those 17 down, and he already outwinnered Djokovic by more than double, 9-4, he didn't have to hit winners, just like hit 10 less unforced errors. That could have easily flipped. That could have been 9-7 and 4-17 with Fritz winning the first set easily. But Fritz had to give it away. Now, if we look at the Tsitsipas match, which, court positioning is so important. Take a look at this court positioning. This is where Medvedev returned the second serve of Stefanos Tsitsipas. That's a comment for later. Stefanos Tsitsipas. Right up on the baseline for that second set. And look what that turned into. Stefanos Tsitsipas wins 18% on second serves. Have you seen a number that low? Have you ever seen a number that low? Now, Stefanos won the second set 6-1 against Danny Medvedev. And he stuck with him in the third set, and it was only when, I think Tsitsipas served 4-5, because 6-4, to stay in the match. It was just a horrible game. I think he double faulted on match point. I think he had 2 double faults in that final game, but the last point was a double fault. Tsitsipas just played a bad game. Otherwise, he did a good job hanging with Medvedev. But what I noticed, the thing that stuck out to me most is I rewatched that match late last night. And when I watched Fritz last night, before I went to bed, one of the last things I thought was, Djokovic is going down. The way he barely beat Fritz, it doesn't look like it in the score, it's 6-3, 6-0, but the way I saw the match playing out, like, if Fritz played a tiny bit better, he could have freaking won this match. I thought for sure Djokovic is going down, and I thought Medvedev is being so much smarter. The only other person I see in the whole tournament at Monte-Carlo who's doing a better job at this is Rafa Nadal. Both of those guys, they will get way back at times to contain your power, your serve, whatever, but every shot They're strategically moving closer and closer to the baseline to take you out. In the first set against Tsitsipas, Medvedev was really tight on the baseline, taking the ball very early, as you saw on the graphic I showed you. Not just on serve return, though. Every rally, every point, he was always there. The thing I noticed in the second set was that Danny Medvedev kind of fell back a little, and then Tsitsipas wins it 6-1. Third set, he gets a little closer to the baseline, but Tsitsipas also is playing tighter on the baseline, and that's why that set was closer. And then it's just unfortunate that Tsitsipas just had a really bad game. And then take a look at the handshake. I don't use video much because I'm worried about the ATP trying to get me, but you can tell from the still image, Danny Medvedev is turned into the handshake still. He still has his shoulders, his belly button pointing at the net. Tsitsipas, his hand's still kind of there, but he's already walking away. He ran away from that handshake. He is not ready to be friends with the BS Russian, as he so put it 2 years ago in Miami. In the first set, Stefanos got 88% of the serves back in play. Danny Medvedev, 80%, so that's less. But like I showed you in that stat, he's playing closer to baseline, and they're higher quality returns. Maybe it's a little bit less, 8% less, but it's a better return coming in because he's taking it earlier. Oh, last thing I want to show you, let's look at Coric and Fognini. I mean, is it obvious that one guy kind of ran away with the match, 6-2 in the third set? Look at these stats. More first serves in for Fognini, but exactly the same on first serves 1, second serves 1. -10 versus -14. Sure, there's more unforced errors, but Fognini, he did a great job of what I talked about in the beginning of the show. He hung around when it mattered most. He forced Coric to play extra balls, and he came up with shots. He landed shots. He made them drop in the court, in the corners for winners. He's got 21 winners. More than half of those are all in the third set when it mattered most. And take a look at this really quick. Flavia, the beautiful Flavia Pennetta, former U.S. Open champion of the WTA.
He was nervous.
In the player box.
She can be. There we go.
Still very competitive, getting frustrated when Fognini blows a match point. All right, let's read the comments. Let's really celebrate BierHall Freitag, and then I'm going to get out of here and enjoy a big cake with Mr. Goat. A cat cake, a Katzel cake. Like I was saying, a new nickname from Sparse Jane, Stefanos City Pass. Nirupam, only team has the remote chance of beating Rafa at Monte-Carlo. That's what I thought. Oh, I never got to talk about that. Last thing, yeah, there's another comment that actually, we'll get to what happened to Dominic Thiem later. Ed Baker, like Timo de Bakker. I like your posts. As a player of 50 years, I can't believe more players drop shot a serve. After all, it is within the rules to do so. You also use the drop shot during the rally. More players should use the drop shot serve to start the rally. I don't think this happens because there's not a lot of great epic moments that we all remember where a top player that everyone loved and respected, like Roger, used a drop shot serve at a crucial moment to win Wimbledon or something like that. We just have the story of Michael Chang doing it against Yvonne Lindell at the French Open. And if you watch that famous clip, Lindell looks totally disgusted. Like it was just not cool to do that. Like he broke. Now, don't get me wrong. I hear the commentators. A lot of people have been saying this lately. When you're playing Rafa and he's way back, it's not the worst thing. Nick Kyrgios might freaking do it a few more times. A lot of people, though, what do they think of him? From David, dude, wake up. Tiger had his back fused, then won a major. Conversation over. 21 crush won. It's funny how Tsitsipas just cannot beat Medvedev. Yeah. They don't like each other. Or it's more of a Stefanos thing. He really had his best chance ever to beat him today. Couldn't do it. Had to double fault in match point. Ronnie James Osborne. Federer played. I asked in a video before. I said, when was the last time Roger and Rafa played the French Open final? Of course, it is the finger wag when he beats Djokovic 2011 and then loses. According to Ronnie James Osborne, in my humble opinion, it was Federer's best match and his best opportunity to beat Nadal to Roland Garros final. Final scoreline, close, 7-5, 7-6, 5-7, 6-1. And Stargnider Vonders points out, I still can't believe how he could blow his 5-2 and set point lead in the first. Yeah, I remember that. I remember that now very well. But if we're going to say that, if only Roger won that first set, he would have won the match for sure. Then we got to give 2009 Wimbledon to Andy Roddick. Attention, Jack. Or Action Jackson. I don't know. All I know is that this is a good year for the ATP and fans. The stories, the drama, the big three, the next gen, the ups and downs, and jockeying for position. I'm loving it. I couldn't agree more. This is a great year so far, especially if Federer keeps winning. Speaking of Federer winning, I meant to do this earlier in the show. Take a look at the wins leaders for the year. So Danny Medvedev is now number 1, but we must point out, he has 6 losses to go with his wins, whereas Federer, only 2. Andrew Scott, it's interesting that Federer's best chance to beat Nadal at the French Open was in 2005 when Nadal was young, and now again 14 years later when Nadal is old and his body might break down. There are some people who are now starting to imagine, look at this clay court field. Djokovic doesn't like the clay. A lot of these young guns, they don't seem to be doing too great on the clay yet. I know it's the first tournament. Rafa, he looks good, but it's questionable if he's going to be healthy enough to make it all the way. And Roger, the way he played at Indian Wells in Miami, the slower hard courts of the year, maybe, just maybe, some people are dreaming of it. I'm not saying it's going to happen. What if we somehow get Nadal and Federer at the French Open final? And could Federer win it? I think Andrew Scott is right. An older Nadal might be the best chance Federer ever had to do it. From the INSTANTgram, Eccleshire, couldn't agree more with y'all. I think what Matt has mentioned in recent videos kind of sums things up. The number of different champions so far this season, how the ATP race to London stands, it's close to what we see in the WTA more often. A lack of favorites, a lot of inconsistency in general from all players. Apart from Joker's AO run and Federer, now we have Nadal and Clay, hopefully healthy. So that makes it a legit top 3, in my opinion. But a possible knee injury haunting Nadal, Joker's latest performances, Federer coming back to Clay after so long. Man, is this Clay season unpredictable. Yeah, it sure is. Dr. Sandeep Gupta, instead of saying, he's commenting on me saying, it goes back to Danny Medvedev saying, do you want to fight, Stefanos? And Dr. Sandeep says, instead of flattening him with his fist, he makes sure to flatten him on the court, it seems. Oh, I didn't show you guys, but the RPM, I'll put it on the screen now. 22, I think it is. Whatever it is, it's on the screen. You tell me. Notice how that number is a lot smaller than all the other numbers. That is a flat backhand, and he has been flattening Stefanos with it, for sure. He flattened Djokovic with it, too. Mahan Razag commented, Matt, Dominic Thiem is out. Didn't you say he has a chance to win this tournament? I sure thought he did. I mean, he was doing his normal Dominic Thiem thing. But what Duzi Lajovic was so good at doing in that match was realizing that Dominic Thiem, I'm sorry, he's my personal friend, but he's sehr one-dimensional. That's German for very. He's very one-dimensional. So Duzi basically went all the way back to the fence. It was like, okay, Dominic Thiem, he's playing pretty well. He's hitting a really heavy ball, making a loud sound. Ooh! When he hits the ball, he's making a loud sound. It's spinning high. It's bouncing high. One of the things Djokovic says about why he lost is because they changed the ball, and it bounces higher this year, and it's really slow, and it's windy, and it's hard to play consistent and get the rhythm. Find the rhythm. So with that high bouncing ball, you would think Dominic Thiem would do really well here. The ball is jumping super high, but Lajovic says, I'm going to go back to the fence and neutralize your high bouncing ball, Dominic Thiem, and you're not going to move up because you're going to play back, and you're not going to hit a lot of drop shots. Dominic Thiem did try to drop shot him, and it worked sometimes, but you're not going to do it enough to beat me, Dominic Thiem. You're not going to start coming to the net on me, Dominic Thiem. There's nothing you can do. And it worked. Lajovic, a little more solid than Dominic Thiem, but Dominic Thiem not really playing terrible if you watch that match. Dominic Thiem almost fought his way back from playing outstanding, from hitting some incredible angles, which is really hard to do when Duzi Lajovic is all the way back, and every high bouncing ball from Thiem, it always has time to drop right into the Lajovic strike zone, and he was just gripping and ripping too. He's doing the same thing as Dominic Thiem, but his ball was a little flatter. I didn't look at the stats, but I'm sure it is. It worked. It worked. He let Dominic Thiem hit himself out of the match. Dominic Thiem kind of panicked. He didn't get as many free points from his big bouncing ball that he usually gets and all of his power. And even if you look at the Federer match, I was talking to Crunch Time Coaching, Peter Freeman, about this. He's saying, remember what Dominic Thiem did at Indian Wells when he was losing? His adjustment? He basically went from hitting forehand 77 miles an hour to, I'm just going to hit him 99 miles an hour. Like, he's kind of one-dimensional. He doesn't have a lot of different things to change. He did move up a little bit with his court positioning at Indian Wells. He did get closer. But the biggest change he made was, I'm going to rip it even harder because I'm obviously going to lose to Federer the way I'm doing things right now. So there you go. Yeah, I thought he had a good chance. But who all can do that? Who all can have the nerve, like Lajovic, to just back up to the fence and do that? Maybe more people try it now that we've seen it put in action on clay. Intern Kremere said, Djokovic should have lost, darn it. Well, he did. He sure did in the end. Will, living good. I hope you're living good, Will. Hope you're enjoying the good life. If it was Federer who hasn't played on clay the past 2 years, it might be okay. I'm sure Djokovic can't be pleased with yet another relatively early exit. Yeah, No way. And last one, I'll put the rest on the screen from Loriev. Why do you think Sasha is struggling so badly currently, and how in the world is he ranked higher than Roger? Won 2 titles and made another final. What has Sasha done? Was it the results of the Aussie Open? No, it's the World Tour Finals, which is, I believe, 1,300. And Sasha, you got to remember, he won Madrid last year. That's 1,000. He already lost points at Monte-Carlo. He has like a semifinals or quarterfinals somewhere else. He won in München, which is coming up next week, I think, or it's soon, whenever it is. I believe that's ATP 250. There's a lot of stuff he did on clay, and if he doesn't start playing well soon, those points are going to disappear, and Federer is going to leapfrog him before the French Open, most likely. He's got, I think, quarterfinal points to defend at the French Open. And the World Tour Finals points, you get to keep them all year until November, right before the World Tour Finals, they disappear. Why is it happening? Hard to say exactly. You can always say when a player's newer, a lot of players don't know how to play them yet, don't know their game yet. Coaches haven't figured them out yet. I think everyone kind of knows what Sasha does. To me, he's just been pretty wildly inconsistent. If you ask him, he said he was sick at Indian Wells, I think was where it was. He said, I think he said he has some kind of injury thing now. My biggest question is, how long is Lindell going to stick around? All right, hit the music. Thanks for watching. I'm going to celebrate the Geburtstag by editing this really long video. Thank you for joining us on Coffee Break Tennis. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, a subscribe. Follow us on Twitter at Coffee Break TENS, like the number 10. Follow us on the Instagram at Coffee Break Tennis. And be sure to check out, if you play tennis or if you want to learn tennis, a great place to start is The Serve. Check out the link down below. Sign up for the free video series that will revolutionize your serve. I guarantee it. I think that's about it. We probably won't be back tomorrow. Maybe we will. I'm not sure. Worst case scenario, we'll see you Monday. See ya!